Hey there, class. Mr. Prosky here. Hope you're having a good day so far. We're starting with, ending the chapter with 1.7, which is finding perimeter, circumference, and area. Our central question is how do you find dimensions, perimeter, circumference, and area of polygons or different shapes? All right, so why don't you guys go ahead and do the warm-up. I actually drew those. Those shouldn't be in your notes, the triangle, square, and rectangle. I drew them and labeled them, so why don't you go ahead and draw those and see if you can remember any formulas for perimeter and area of a triangle, square, and rectangle. Go ahead and pause the video. All right, is perimeter the inside or outside of a shape? It is the outside. So what's the outside of the triangle? Well, we have A plus B plus C. All right. How about area of a triangle? Do we know that one? That one's a little bit trickier. I can do something up here, actually. We should call this B and this C over here. So area of a triangle, hopefully that didn't mess it up too bad, but area of a triangle should have been base times height over 2, or 1/2 base times height. Okay? Either or. Let me actually erase that. You won't see what I'm writing because this program's kind of goofy. Or 1/2 base times height. All right, square. Looks like one of the side lengths of a square is S, so if we add up all the S's around the outside, how many S's do we have? Is it 4S or S to the 4th? It is 4S. If we add up all the S's, right, that would be S plus S plus S plus S, which is 4 S's. S to the 4th would be if you're multiplying those. How about area of a square? Well, area of a square is kind of like area of a rectangle. It's going to be, two side lengths multiplied together. So that one's going to be S times S, or preferably S squared. How about perimeter of a rectangle? Well, we have W and L, length and width here. How many L's and W's do we have? We have W plus L plus W plus L. And if we combine like terms, how many W's do we have? 2 W's. How many L's do we have? So we got 2 W's plus 2 L's is going to be the perimeter of a rectangle. And then area of a rectangle, hopefully you remember, is length times width. If you did not remember those, that's okay. It's been a while since we've talked about that stuff. So those are the formulas. Let's go ahead and fill in these boxes down here. So perimeter of a square, these formulas. And these formulas should be on that sheet that I possibly gave you. We'll see for chapter 1. Hopefully you have that somewhere. So perimeter of a square is 4S. Area is S squared. Perimeter of a rectangle is 2 length plus 2 width. And area is length times width. Perimeter of a triangle is A plus B plus C, or whatever the side lengths are. It's the outside of the triangle. Area of a triangle is base times height over 2. I prefer that one, or you could do 1/2 base times height. Either one, whichever one works for you. Now, what's a circle with radius R? C is also, it's kind of like it's P. It's the perimeter of the circle. That's what circumference means. And do you remember the formula for that? It is actually 2 pi r, or pi times d. Now, why is it pi times d? Well, d is the diameter. If we look at this here, right, the diameter is all this, and there's 2 radii that make up a diameter. So the 2 pi r, so diameter equals 2 radii, right? Or a radius equals 1/2 the diameter. Okay, so that's why the 2 pi r, these two r's, make up the 1d. Okay? Then the area of a circle is pi r squared. All right, like we said before, finding the circumference of a circle is the same as finding its perimeter. It's what? Perimeter. And perimeter and circumference are always labeled in units. In what? In units. And area is going to be units squared. In what? Units squared. Okay. So if you're thinking about that for the formula for area of a circle, area of a circle is pi r squared. So if you think squared units, you're going to remember that it's going to be pi r squared. Okay, let's get into the problem down here. All right, find the perimeter and area of a rectangle. The inbounds portion of a singles tennis court is shown. Find its perimeter and its area. Okay, what kind of shape is this right here? What kind of shape is that? Hopefully you said rectangle, so we're going to do perimeter of a rectangle what was the formula for that again? 2L plus 2W. And do we know the length and width? We do. The length was what? Length was 78 plus 2 times the width, which is 27. All right, which is going to equal 2 times 78 is 156, plus 2 times 27 is 54, which equals 210 feet. Is it feet or feet squared if it's perimeter? It's just feet. There's no square units. It's just a distance. It's a distance around. All right, then area of a rectangle was what? Area equals length times width. Well, length times width, the length we said was 78, right? The width was 27. So we multiply those, we're going to get area equals, should have got 2,106 feet squared or square feet. And that's the area. Okay, why don't you guys go ahead and pause the video and try checkpoint 1. And basically checkpoint 1 is the same thing as example 1, except the width is going to be, this is going to be actually 36. Okay, go ahead and see how you do. All right, so perimeter, again, was 2 length plus 2 width. So that equals, did I do something up here? No, we're good. Okay, I was looking at the wrong thing. All right, the length again was 78, plus the width was 36. Okay, remember, we have to multiply first, and then we add them. So we have to multiply before we add. So 2 times 78 is 156. 2 times 36 is 72. Add those together, we get 228 feet. All right, and the area was length times width, which is 78 times 36. Area equals 2,808 feet squared. All right, so it's just basically plugging into the formula. All right, we talked about a circle before. Let me draw a circle here again, okay? That was a bad circle. Let me draw it again. Not perfect, but okay, we had a radius. Radius was half of the way across the circle. A second radius is all the way across the circle. That was really bad. This is a diameter is all the way across. So it's a radius. What's the relationship of the radius to the diameter? A radius is half of a diameter, and a diameter is going to be what? The radius. It's going to be double the radius. So for example, so the radius equals 1/2 of diameter. Actually, we'll do diameter over 2. That'll be a little bit easier. Diameter over 2, and the diameter equals 2 radii. Okay? All right, let's do example 2 now. All right, the small circle on an Olympic target is 12 centimeters in diameter. Find the approximate circumference and area of the smallest circle. Okay. So what was the formula for circumference of a circle? Well, circumference equals either 2 pi r or pi times diameter, because remember, there's 2 radii that make up a diameter, so we could do either one. What did they give us here? Did they give us the radius or the diameter? Well, 12 centimeters was the diameter. That was the diameter. So which one are we going to use, this one or this one? I would use pi d. So C equals pi times 12. Okay, pi times 12. And actually, we're going to rewrite that. Usually, we write it with pi at the end, so it's going to be 12 pi is the exact answer. And then if you use an approximation, if you plug into your calculator, you're going to get approximately 37.7 centimeters. And that's the circumference. All right, now the area is a little bit trickier because what was the area of a circle? It was pi r squared. Okay, so they gave us the diameter was 12. So a question for you is the radius going to be half or double 12? Well, if you recall, so 12 is all the way across. So what's half of that going to be? It's going to be 6, right? So you can do d equals. Let me see here. D equals 2r, right? And you can do 12 equals 2r, and divide by 2 to get your r equals 6. Okay. So that's kind of how you have to, yeah, d equals 2r is that might be an easy formula for you to remember to kind of solve that here. So whatever you know, you can plug in the diameter in for d, or else you can plug in the radius in for r, and then you can solve for what you're missing. So again, we know that the radius is 6, so we're going to do pi times 6 squared. Now going back to our order of operations stuff, are we going to do 6 squared first, or are we going to do times pi first? We're going to do 6 squared, which is going to give us 36 pi. Remember, 6 squared is 6 times 6 and not 6 times 2. And 36 pi, if you do an approximation of that in your calculator, you're going to get 113.1. Is it centimeters or centimeters squared? Should be centimeters squared because it's a square unit. Okay. All right, why don't you guys go ahead and try the second checkpoint. I'll zoom out here so you can see what we did. Why don't you guys try checkpoint 2? It's very similar. All right, we're looking for circumference. Okay, so now let's think about this here. What is 8? Is that the radius or the diameter? It's the radius. Remember, radius is from the center to the edge. I don't know if I mentioned that in the notes so far, but radius is from the center to the edge. The diameter is all the way across. So they gave us 8, which is the radius. So the radius is 8. So are we going to use 2 pi r, or are we going to use pi times diameter? Which one do you want to use? Well, you can do either one, but we could either solve for the radius, or else we can just figure out we can plug in 8 in for the radius. Let's do that. Let's plug in 8 in for r. So 2 times 8 is going to be 16, so c equals 16 pi. And that's approximately, if you plug that in, which is about 50.27 meters. And remember, it's a distance around the circle, so it's not going to be a meters squared. All right, area of the circle. Area equals pi r squared. Well, nice thing about this is we have the radius already, so radius is going to be 8, so we do 8 squared. So A equals 64 pi, which is approximately, if we plug that in, you're going to get 201.1 square meters. And that would be the area. Okay, so remember, area is the inside of the circle, perimeter is the outside of the circle, or circumference. Okay, now we're going to make things a little bit more challenging, because that's what we do here. Okay? Well, we're going to do 2 different things here. Okay, so it says find the unknown length. The base of a triangle is 24 feet. Its area is 216. Find the height of the triangle. Okay, well, what's the area of a triangle again? A equals what? It's base times height over 2, or 1/2 base times height. I'm going to use base times height over 2. So let's label what we know here. Do we know the base? Yeah, the base was 24, right? That doesn't look very good. So the base was 24. I'll go over here. The base was 24. What else do we know? Ooh, we actually know the area. We actually know the area is 216. So we're actually not solving for the area. We're actually solving for I'm going to box the height. We're looking for the height here, right? So I'm going to plug in what I know. I know the area is 216. So I'm going to do 216 equals the base, which is 24, times the height we don't know, all over 2. Okay? All right, so this one's it's a little bit different than looking for the area. We're actually looking for a different measure, the base, the height, or something different. Okay, now how do we solve for h? Well, we want a fraction bus. We want to get rid of that dividing by 2 by multiplying by 2, which is 432 equals 24h. Now what do we do? Now we're going to divide by 24. And h is going to be equal to 18 feet. Okay? All right, why don't you guys go ahead and try... So checkpoint 3, you're actually looking for the area. I'll box the area here. And for this one down here, you're looking for the base. Okay? So why don't you guys see if you can do 3 and 4. Pause the video, give it a try. See how you do. All right, so checkpoint 3 is a little bit different here. It's kind of the easier version. So area equals base times height over 2. What do we know here? We know the height is 7. We know the base is 3.5, so we're just going to plug it in. The base was 3.5. The height was 7. All over 2. And then if we plug that into our calculator, multiply the top across, and then divide by 2, we're going to get 12.25 square centimeters. And that's our area. Okay, we're just plugging into the formula. This whole section is doing that. All right, last one's a little bit trickier. The area we know, which is 96. We know the height is 8. We're looking for the base. So, A equals base times height over 2. So we know the area is 96, so we're going to do 96 equals the base we don't know. I'm going to put base. We know the height is 8, all over 2. Now how do we solve for the base? We need to multiply by 2 on both sides. So we have 96 times 2 is 192, equals 8b. Divide by 8, and base is going to be equal to 24 inches. Okay. And that is how you solve for different types of dimensions. Area, perimeter, circumference, all that stuff. Thank you for watching. If you have questions, make sure you come talk to me outside the class or during one of my free periods or when we have stat or homeroom or whatever. And yeah, thanks for watching. Have a great day, and we'll talk soon.